Happy application day. Today is the 24th of April, one of those. It's Monday. But what we're gonna do here, it's been really nice out. I actually thought I might have missed the window for this, but I looked at Greencast. So you go to greencast.com and you type in your zip code, and that'll actually give you those soil temp averages. Not just 24-hour, but you can look historical, year over year. You can look at the 5-day, and I thought I might have missed the window, but it's actually the soil temp averages. 24 hours was 53 degrees. The 5-day average is 53 degrees. And so the way I look at it is the thresholds, right? You're not gonna, if you don't do it right at 50 or right before 55, you're not missing out, okay? So you're gonna be fine. But again, I started to panic a little bit just because I literally just got my first mow in 3 days ago. So I was a little bit behind the times, a lot of other things going on, but yeah, so we've got that taken care of. The other thing that's happening though is I usually look for those temperatures to kind of sync up, right? So when you see that 24-hour and the 5-day and they start to kind of blend in a little bit more, that to me is a good sign that you're kind of ready to go. So what we're actually gonna be doing here is I'm gonna go ahead and get my stuff put down. I got 2 applications to do. One is a spray, the other one is a fertilizer. So let's talk about those a little bit. So applicators of choice. So I got my Echo RB60. I bought this, 1 or 2 seasons ago. There's a couple of videos I have out there about it with a review and some modifications I've done to this. But so far, I'm not gonna lie, for around $100, it's a really solid spreader. It's better, I think it's better than the Scott's. I think it's obviously not gonna get you what like those $500 Lescos or the more expensive, the Spikers and such. This isn't their league. But for a homeowner that's got a good amount of yard, it's it'll handle a full bag for a 15,000 square foot yard, no problem. It's not hard to push. It's pretty accurate on its throw. It's got the side cover on it so that you can keep your angles nice and tight when you're coming up on driveways and other things, landscaping that you don't want to get the fertilizer into. It's been a solid unit. I haven't had any issue with it. Like I said, the modification I did here is I used to have a double. Found out it wasn't really working so much, it was just spinning itself around. This is actually just a simple bolt with a drill through, and this is this little wing here that I made is actually just a cabinet shelf holder. So just those little pins that hold the shelves inside your kitchen cabinets, and I just kind of grinded it down a little bit to fit. But at least this kind of scrapes and moves things around. It keeps the agitation going, so as things start falling in, it'll keep pulling it in and letting it do its job. So that's worked really well. The next thing we've got here is my backpack. Again, it's not battery powered. Would I like one? Yes. Was it in the cards when I bought? No. I got that one. It was only like 60 bucks on sale at Lowe's. Again, it's got the plastic wand, but it does what it needs to do. It works really well. And the big thing here is that as long as you keep it clean, you rinse it out, you use a nice nozzle, or a tip, I should say. And this right here, let me flip this around, is my T-Jet. This is my 11004. So basically this right here is what I use for applying Prodiamine. I use it for my dithiopure, and I also use it for the Bifin that I spray, because it does a nice good fan coat. It's nice and even. And yeah, I have to pump while I walk, but you know what? Whatever, I'm still young, so it works for me. Anyway, 4 gallons. We're gonna walk through what this looks like. I picked up, again, paint cup. You can get these dirt cheap at any hardware store, but these are really awesome for measuring when you're dealing with liquids and doing rinse outs. I got my Prodiamine granules, which I have plenty here for another season and a half if I want. And then I got a little scale off Amazon so that I can measure, so I make sure I've got the right rate, because these are WDG, which is water dissolved granules, and you do it by weight. So you weigh these out, and that's how you get to the number of ounces by weight to gallons of water. I obviously kept the book, so I can go back and refer to that and see what my split app is gonna be. And then we've got Flagship. So this has been a really good fertilizer for me. It's a 2406. This is the 45-pound bag, which I know it's not a 50, but they've changed the, they did a 45-pound. It actually helps them with the shipping, which is great. I know Yard Mastery has a whole bunch of other stuff that they're into as well. Like right up there, I've got RGS, and I've got a, I still have a humic and a Humic 12 that I'm still gonna throw those down this year just to get some extra feeding done. But the Flagship has been really good for me. Essentially, this is my replacement for what used to be called Carbon X. And so there used to be a company called Carbon Earth that was out there that he worked with that came out with a Carbon X product. I know there was a lot of issues. I don't really get involved in the politics of it, but anyway, this is awesome. It's got biochar, which is really nice for it. And I also think that if you look here on the bag, there it is. It gives you the Echo, it gives you the Lesco, and the Scotch stuff as well as an Earthway, which is kind of nice. You get a nice variety. But again, when you come to something like the Echo, don't mind the scraping, it actually gives you that chart on the back here, right? That'll show you what it is. So when you look at a bag and it says, oh yeah, for Scots, it's 3 1/4. Okay, well, the Echo runs at 3. Mine, I've actually found, I basically go right with the Scots. So where they say it might be a 4, I might do a 5. And that might just be me wanting to apply heavy, but works for me. We're gonna go ahead and get this stuff down. First off, we're gonna start with the Flagship, which again, the rate here is 5.5. I might just set it to 6, make sure I've got plenty down, because you're not gonna burn your lawn with this really. So we'll do that and then we'll move on. Again, I'm pleased, it's looking really good so far. It's nearing the end of April and I have only mowed it once. So I'm pretty happy with how things are looking so far. So moving on. I'm gonna throw that bag in, I'm gonna get the fertilizer down. I'll come back a little bit later and we'll walk through the measuring for Prodiamine so you can talk about the pre-emergent and what that, the measurements need to be for getting that added to a pump sprayer. Again, don't have a battery, wouldn't mind one, but honestly, my next jump is gonna be right to a tow behind. I'm gonna get one of those with the little boom on the back that I can, like a Northern Tools. That way I can just drive around the lawn and do the spraying, which would be a hell of a lot better than having to return this one because, or refill it, because right now I refill this 3 to 4 times depending on what I'm doing. If it's the Bifin, if it's the Prodiamine, which can get a little tedious, but again, my own thing. I'm gonna put the fertilizer down. I'm not gonna video it. You've already seen the videos on the spreader, what it can do, what it looks like, so I'm not gonna get you into that and bore you with that. We'll talk more about the Prodiamine when this gets down, all right? Thanks. Don't forget, whatever you're applying, make sure you give this a good rinse when you're done. Everywhere, wheels, make sure that you get the dispenser, make sure you get underneath the flap here, make sure that's all been rinsed out, the inside of the wheels, the handlebars, and then I get a little bit of water filled up in the bucket here and I kind of walk it as well while I'm opening up, so the water just kind of splashes through everywhere that the product went, because regardless of the fertilizer is corrosive, so it's gonna take out those metal components, so you want to make sure that you're rinsing it and then letting it dry as best as possible. All right, so apparently my stand broke here, so I can't get as much of the standing coverage as I want, but we're gonna go ahead and walk through this. We are gonna get into Prodiamine. So Prodiamine, this is the 65 WDG, as you see here. This is a pre-emergent. sprayer, top it off with some more water. Everything will be mixed in nicely, and I won't have any type of any leftover granules or anything like that gunked up inside the sprayer. And we can go ahead and start spraying. Like I said, I used the T-Jet nozzle on the end there, but let's go ahead and start doing some measuring. All right, got some water in there. We're gonna add the granules. We're gonna make a nice little yellow mixture here. Now we'll just pour it in. I got my screen already in the sprayer, just again, catch any material that might be in the bucket or that might not have gotten mixed up well enough. But I'll add that up here. And this will actually get me close to, if not at the 4 gallon. You know, I don't try to put a lot of water in the bucket, but you definitely want enough to get that mixed in really well. So essentially you're making your own version of a concentrate. There we go. And you can see I'm just at about the, there's a 3 gallon line here, 4 is right up to the top. So I'm gonna go ahead and spray a little extra water in here. Because there's no sense in wasting product. There we go. We're right at about 4 gallons, so we'll top it off. And again, you've got water in there already, so when you add the product, you're not just trying to shake it up in the tank. You've already done your pre-mix. So you're in a really good shape to take care of this. All right, we're gonna cap that off and get going. And like I've done, I've showed you videos of spraying. I've showed the nozzle itself, so we're not gonna walk into that, but I'll show you a little bit of what it looks like when it's coming out as I'm walking in the fan spray. And the other thing to note is, I know it's a pump spray, so basically as I'm walking with this, I am also using my other hand to just do a constant pump. So I'm just kind of walking and just slowly hand pumping it, keeping a constant pressure on it. It does really well instead of trying to walk a few feet and then pump, walk a few feet and pump. Again, I don't have a battery powered one, but I'd skip that route and I'd go right into a tow behind at some point. But we're not there yet. This works great, so let's see what it does. There's that golden yellow. Perfect. And that's it. And I'm going to tell you, one of the things I've learned actually from watching farm channels, to be honest, is when they do their sprayers and they're running those out in the field and they're spraying, you know, hundreds of gallons of stuff. It's funny to look at their mixes. They're putting gallon jugs in there, but you know what? They're spraying very lightly. They're not trying to douse the plant. So just to make sure when you're spraying, you just need to coat. You don't need to stand here and do this and make sure it looks like it's soaked. You get it down on the plot on the floor. And then Prodiamine itself, again, like most products, right? It is not activated until it's watered in. The water is what activates it. So, you know, putting it on there doesn't necessarily make a barrier yet. It's when you get to the point that you're dealing with the water in that it gets activated. And that's why they say, you know, if you get too much rain or you water too much, you can wash product out and it loses its effectiveness. So, all right, we're gonna continue on. We're gonna spray the lawn and there you go. All right, this should actually give you a pretty good idea. This is part of up my hill here that I've been to work. I gotta get to it. I haven't been there yet, but just to show you the spray, right? So look at the ground now. I'm gonna do a spray wand up. You can see that it's already a different color. I covered it. And versus people that might sit there and go, I gotta make sure it's coated, right? You sit there and you do this. And now you've got almost, I don't wanna say puddles, but a real thick glistening. You don't need that. You need this. Not that, this. All right, applications are down. I already stored that. Like I said, I've gone through the videos before about, you know, how you take care of the sprayer. And like I said, when I'm done with it, I take all the pieces out. I rinse all of this out with a hose separately, get it all nice and clean. I try rinse that. So I kind of fill it up a little bit, dump it, fill it up again, spray around the inside, dump it, do it a third time, dump it. And then I put a little bit more in that fourth time. And with all of these little pieces here out, I will pump up. I will get a little bit of pressure built up and I'll actually run it through that wand and I'll keep going until you see clear water come out of that wand. And then you know it's good. I leave the cap off. I leave the covers off the wand there so that everything can kind of air out, dry up a little bit. Again, I've had that for probably almost 3 years now, and it still works great. It's been an amazing addition to my lineup, because in the next couple weeks here, we're gonna go ahead and do this guy, my next favorite, Bifin IT, and that'll help us with our bugs. I use this on the swing set. This is it's called Wonderside. It's actually okay to spray on, you know, it's kid and pet safe, whatever else. I know Bifin, once it dries, it's good. Like I said, I don't mind it on the lawn. I don't mind it around the beds and things like that. Totally fine with that. But when it comes to the swing set where the kids are just all over the place more so, I stick to this. If I have to spray it down more often, I do. This has like peppermint oil, cedarwood oil, sesame oil, things like that. You hook it up to the hose. I just wash down the entire play set, and it's good to go. Works really well. But, you know, that's what I'm using for my, that's when we get into insect control. That'll be another video. But the pre-emergents are all down. Everything is in the ground. Now I'm just gonna wait for the coming rain, so I don't have to water, because like I said, I don't have a sprinkler system. I don't have irrigation. I don't have, you know, I don't wanna feel like I have to walk around the yard and just keep moving sprinklers around all day either. I don't have a setup for that. And because again, I don't have a lot of property, but it's pretty open, and I'm backed up to woods. And so, you know, most of you that live along a wood line or a tree line like that, you know, it's kind of hard to keep a real super clean edge when you get up to near those woods. So, you know, it is what it is. And plus I got all that cleared area back over there now that I gotta deal with at some point in the future and figure out what I'm making out of there. But again, when it comes to the pre-emergent stuff, my backyard's a little rough right now, but I still fertilized it. I still put down all my applications there, because as much as it might not look as nice as the front, I still want it to be, you know, to a certain standard. Anyway, I hope you guys had some fun with that one. It's definitely go time for applying your pre-emergence, so make sure you get on that. And we'll see you in the next one when we do some insect repellent.